Linda Ronstadt's life has always sounded like a beautiful song, soft, powerful, emotional, and unforgettable. But behind her success, behind the Grammys, the fame, and the history-making albums, were 5 extraordinary people who brought grace into her world. 5 people who shaped her life, lifted her spirit, and helped her become the legend we know today. Before the world knew her voice, Linda was simply a young girl in Tucson, raised in a home filled with music, culture, and deep family roots. Her father played Mexican folk songs in the kitchen. Her mother played opera records in the living room. Music didn't visit the Ronstadt home. It lived there. Linda didn't know then that her voice would one day touch millions. She didn't know that she would break boundaries as a woman in rock, explore genres with fearless creativity, and inspire generations. All she knew was the warmth of her family and the familiar sound of voices blending in harmony. Her journey didn't start on a stage. It started at home, with loving parents, supportive siblings, and mentors who appeared at the perfect moments in her life. They guided her not just with advice, but with kindness, patience, and grace. These 5 people didn't just help her succeed, they helped her become herself. They kept her grounded when fame tried to overwhelm her. They reminded her where she came from. They protected her heart, her spirit, and her music. This is the story of those 5 graceful people who shaped Linda Ronstadt's life forever. A story of love, strength, creativity, and gratitude. And now, the journey begins. Linda Ronstadt often said that her father, Gilbert Ronstadt, was the first graceful soul in her life. He wasn't just her parent, he was the man who planted music deep in her heart. Gilbert had a warm voice, a charming presence, and a deep love for traditional Mexican music. When he sang, the house came alive. Little Linda didn't just listen, she absorbed every sound. She watched how her father sang with emotion, not perfection. He taught her that music was not about showing off, it was about feeling. Gilbert believed music was a gift meant to be shared, and he shared it generously with his children. He encouraged Linda not to fear big dreams. When she told him she wanted to be a singer, he didn't laugh or warn her about failure. Instead, he simply said, "If you love it, follow it." That one sentence became a guiding light in her entire life. Even after Linda became famous, she never forgot the lessons learned from her father's songs echoing through their Tucson home. His music shaped her style, her emotions, and her courage to explore different genres, from rock to opera, from country to Latin. When people asked Linda how she developed such soul, she always returned to one memory, sitting on the floor, listening to her father sing late at night. That was her first lesson in grace. It taught her that music connects hearts, heals wounds, and carries stories. Gilbert Ronstadt didn't live to see the full extent of his daughter's success, but Linda always carried him with her. Every time she stepped on stage, every time she recorded a song, there was a little piece of Gilbert in her voice, soft, strong, and full of love. While Linda's father gave her music, her mother, Ruth Mary Ronstadt, gave her strength. Ruth Mary was intelligent, disciplined, and deeply caring, qualities that shaped Linda's character long before fame entered her life. Ruth wasn't a performer like Gilbert, but she loved the arts, especially opera. She played classical music around the house, exposing her children to powerful voices and emotional storytelling. This opened Linda's ears to the beauty of vocal control and expression, skills she later mastered. But her mother's greatest gift wasn't music. It was resilience. Ruth Mary taught Linda how to stand tall in difficult moments. When Linda struggled, she reminded her that challenges were not walls, they were stepping stones. Linda watched her mother manage the home, raise 4 children, and maintain dignity in every situation. That example stayed with her forever. When Linda entered the male-dominated music industry, she faced criticism, pressure, and stereotypes. But her mother's voice echoed in her mind. "Don't let anyone tell you what you can't do." That sentence guided Linda through every bold decision, switching genres, refusing to fit into one category, and choosing authenticity over perfection. Ruth Mary also taught Linda the importance of education and curiosity. She encouraged her to read, learn, and understand the world beyond music. Linda grew up valuing culture, language, and history, which later influenced albums like Canciones de mi Padre. Even in adulthood, Linda often returned home to her mother for advice, comfort, and grounding. Ruth Mary's presence reminded her of who she was before fame, and who she remained deep inside. Grace doesn't always appear in glitter. Sometimes it appears in quiet strength, and that quiet strength came from Ruth Mary Ronstadt. When Linda Ronstadt met Peter Asher, her career was already rising, but he became the graceful guiding force who helped her reach the top. Peter wasn't just a producer, he was a visionary who heard the true power of Linda's voice before the world fully recognized it. In the early 1970s, Linda was searching for the right musical direction. She had talent, passion, and drive, but she needed someone who believed in her potential with the same intensity she believed in music. That person was Peter Asher. The moment he heard her sing, he saw something extraordinary. Not just a rock singer, not just a country artist, but a voice with emotional depth that could cross every boundary. Under Peter's guidance, Linda recorded Heart Like a Wheel, the album that changed everything. It went to #1, earned her a Grammy, and solidified her place as one of the greatest voices of her generation. Peter didn't try to control her, he guided her. He respected her instincts. He encouraged her to try new genres and trust her artistic courage. Together, they created some of the most iconic albums of the 1970s and 1980s. Their partnership was built on mutual respect, kindness, and grace. Peter supported Linda not just as an artist, but as a person. He understood her sensitivity, her intelligence, and her desire for authenticity. Even decades later, Linda has nothing but gratitude for Peter Asher. She says he played one of the most important roles in her life, professionally and emotionally. Sometimes the right mentor appears at the perfect moment. For Linda Ronstadt, that moment was meeting Peter Asher. In the world of music, true friendships are rare. But when Linda Ronstadt and Emmylou Harris met, something special happened. They weren't just collaborators, they were soul sisters. Their voices blended with a magic that felt almost otherworldly, soft, warm, pure, and filled with emotion. When they sang together, it sounded like one heart speaking through two voices. But their bond was deeper than harmony. Emmylou became one of the most graceful presences in Linda's life. She supported her through difficult moments, celebrated her successes, and stood by her as a loyal friend. Their friendship wasn't built on fame, it was built on mutual respect and admiration. Together with Dolly Parton, they later formed the legendary Trio, creating music that touched millions. But long before that, Emmylou and Linda shared long talks, laughter, and the comfort of knowing they had found a friend who understood the emotional weight of the music world. Emmylou admired Linda's courage to explore different genres. Linda admired Emmylou's gentle spirit and steady strength. They lifted each other up in an industry that often tried to pull artists down. When Linda was diagnosed with a condition that affected her singing voice, Emmylou was one of the first to offer comfort. She didn't see Linda as the icon who lost her ability. She saw her as the friend who deserved love and understanding. Grace often appears in the form of friendship. For Linda Ronstadt, that grace was Emmylou Harris. Dolly Parton brought something into Linda Ronstadt's life that every artist needs: joy, pure, bright, unstoppable joy. Dolly was a burst of sunshine in any room she entered, and Linda adored that energy. The two met in the 1970s, recognizing something powerful in each other's voices and spirits. Dolly admired Linda's fearlessness. Linda admired Dolly's warmth and honesty. And together with Emmylou Harris, they created one of the most beloved collaborations in country music history. But Dolly wasn't just a musical partner, she was a graceful friend. She brought humor during stressful recording sessions. She offered advice when fame felt overwhelming. She made Linda laugh at moments when life felt too heavy. Their bond was built on sincerity, trust, and the freedom to be completely themselves around each other. Even though they had different personalities, their connection was effortless. Linda's quiet strength matched perfectly with Dolly's bright spirit. They understood each other without trying too hard. When Linda stepped away from singing due to her illness, Dolly spoke publicly with admiration and love. She reminded the world of Linda's greatness, calling her one of the greatest voices in American music. Dolly's grace came through loyalty, kindness, and an open heart. She celebrated other artists instead of competing with them, a rare trait in the entertainment world. And Linda never forgot that. Their friendship was a reminder that music is not only about notes and lyrics, it's about human connection. And Dolly Parton brought that connection into Linda Ronstadt's life with love, laughter, and endless grace. Carla Bonoff and Linda Ronstadt shared a relationship built on creativity, honesty, and mutual admiration. Many of Linda's most emotional songs were written by Carla, and that wasn't a coincidence. Carla understood Linda's heart in a way few people could. When Linda first heard Carla's songwriting, she felt something click inside her. Carla's lyrics were deep, vulnerable, and full of truth. They spoke about love, pain, strength, and longing, themes Linda connected with on a personal level. Carla didn't just give Linda songs, she gave her stories to sing. Their creative partnership became one of the most graceful parts of Linda's career. Together, they created music that touched fans around the world, especially women who found their own emotions reflected in those lyrics. Behind the scenes, Carla was gentle, thoughtful, and sincere. She wasn't loud or flashy. She carried herself with quiet grace, and Linda admired that deeply. Their conversations often extended far beyond music. They spoke about life, fear, identity, and dreams. Carla supported Linda through difficult transitions, especially when Linda explored new genres. She encouraged her to trust her instincts and remain fearless in her artistic journey. To Linda, Carla Bonoff was more than a songwriter. She was a mirror, reflecting Linda's deepest feelings and giving her the courage to express them out loud. Their partnership showed that music is not only created, it is felt. And Carla Bonoff helped Linda feel the power of her own voice in a whole new way. When Linda Ronstadt sang with Aaron Neville, the world heard a blend of voices that felt like pure magic. But behind that musical beauty was something even more important, a graceful friendship that brought healing into Linda's life. Aaron Neville had a voice unlike anyone else, soft yet powerful, trembling yet strong. Linda was drawn to the emotional honesty in his singing. When they recorded Don't Know Much and All My Life, their voices fit together like puzzle pieces made for each other. But their bond wasn't just musical. Aaron supported Linda during challenging personal moments. His gentle nature, deep spirituality, and quiet humility brought peace to her. He was the kind of person who made others feel safe simply by being near them. Linda admired Aaron's strength, especially considering the hardships he had overcome in his own life. He taught her that grace isn't about perfection. It's about kindness, forgiveness, and resilience. Their duets weren't just songs. They were conversations between two souls who respected and understood each other. Linda once said that singing with Aaron felt like finding the emotional core of every lyric. Even years later, she speaks about him with warmth, gratitude, and deep affection. Aaron Neville wasn't one of the 5 main people she labeled as graceful, but he was undeniably part of her emotional journey. His presence helped her through difficult times. His friendship reminded her that love and compassion can heal almost anything. Before fame, before Hollywood, before the world knew her name, there was family. Linda Ronstadt grew up with siblings who shaped her life in quiet but powerful ways. Peter, Michael, and Susie weren't in the spotlight, but they were the foundation of Linda's early world. Each of them played music, supported one another, and shared the warmth of a loving home. Their bond taught Linda something priceless, that success means nothing without people who truly know and love you. Growing up, Linda and her siblings spent hours singing together. They harmonized naturally, blending voices the way only family can. Those early harmonies became the blueprint for Linda's extraordinary vocal style. Her brothers and sister also gave her protection. When she struggled with fame or criticism, her siblings reminded her of who she really was, a girl from Tucson with a big voice and an even bigger heart. They celebrated her successes, but also kept her grounded. They treated her like Linda, not the superstar. This balance allowed her to stay humble, stay true, and stay emotionally strong. When Linda later faced health challenges, her siblings became her closest caregivers. They stood by her with unwavering love, proving that family remains the greatest grace of all. Linda never forgot the support her siblings gave her from childhood to adulthood. They were her first teammates, her first audience, and her lifelong emotional anchors. In the story of Linda Ronstadt, her siblings were the unsung heroes. Linda Ronstadt always said she didn't become a star alone. She became a star because millions of people believed in her. Her fans were not just listeners. They were a source of strength, hope, and grace. They supported her across 5 decades, across genres, across person. Al challenges, and across every reinvention of her musical identity. From rock to country, from opera to Latin, her fans followed her with loyalty that rarely happens in the music world. They embraced every side of her, applauding her courage to explore her heritage and step into new artistic spaces. Linda never took this love for granted. She read fan letters. She remembered faces from shows. She valued authenticity and connection more than fame or awards. When she spoke about her fans, her voice always softened with gratitude. Even after she stopped performing, her fans continued to support her, reminding her that her impact went far beyond the stage. They loved not just her music, but her honesty, her bravery, and her kindness. Many artists inspire fans, but Linda Ronstadt found grace in her fans. They helped her feel seen, respected, and loved, especially during difficult moments in her life. They celebrated her roots, honored her achievements, and stood by her as she faced her medical challenges. Her fans were proof that music creates family, a family she still cherishes today. In the end, Linda Ronstadt's life story can be told through 5 graceful souls who shaped her heart, her music, and her destiny. Her father Gilbert, her mother Ruth Mary, Peter Asher, Emmylou Harris, and Dolly Parton. Each one brought something different. Each one left something unforgettable. From Gilbert, she received the gift of music. From Ruth Mary, she learned resilience. From Peter Asher, she gained artistic direction. From Emmylou Harris, she found sisterhood. From Dolly Parton, she experienced joy and unconditional support.